Alrighty guys, here it is guys. Y'all remember the Pacifica we had with the misfire in cylinder 5? I had my helper diagnose it. Okay, I'm looking over his shoulder, I'm training him. We're discussing what to look for, why it's doing what it's doing, what will happen if you do such and such. I used a scenario moving the misfire problem cylinder to another cylinder and see if the misfire follows suit. It in fact did, so we came to the conclusion that we simply need a tune-up, guys. So now they only got me one coil, guys. I know there's a big debate about if you should do all coils. Do coils as needed, guys. I mean, a lot of people would do them all, but these are not cheap. Okay, yes, these can throw a tune-up over the hump. All right, that's bad enough. They was bulking at the price of the tune-up, so adding, there's no additional labor to do a coil if you're doing spark plugs, simply because you have to remove the coil anyway, right? Yeah. So all right, so they approved the tune-up, and they got me some injector flush. I don't like this valve lane. I want Mopar. Mopar make a induction service kit. Okay, I'm taking this back. Yeah. He also found an oil leak, guys. We're going in with the new improved revised oil cooler. Okay, this is a Pacifica, so they only use one sensor in the back. All right, so we got a lot of work to do. Let me get my help over here so we can get started. It's pretty self-explanatory, guys. I'm getting ready to do a tune-up. Well, I'm getting ready to replace the spark plugs. Okay, now that could be called a tune-up. Some people may call it a tune-up, but y'all know how I feel about calling just spark plug replacement a tune-up. There's a lot that goes into a tune-up, guys. The tune-up number one goal is to help restore peak performance, help the car get back to its peak performance that it was at during birth. It was first made. Okay, now replacing worn out spark plugs will help do that. Well, we got to get this plenum off, so I can go over how to get this plenum off, and you already know how to replace spark plug once the plenum is off. Okay guys, so without wasting a lot of time, we're gonna get right into it. All right guys, you got two bolts right here and this air cleaner. All of this has to come off, so let's get with it. Alright guys, as you can see, we're doing a tune-up. As you can see, you can get to the rear cylinders 1, 3, and 5 without removing a lot of stuff. Okay, in fact, I have already removed the coils. They just held on by 10mm bolts. So you can get all three of those out and simply pull straight up on the coil to remove them. The intake was have to be removed in order to get cylinders 2, 4, and 6. Alright, so basically, man, just start on you want everything off of the intake manifold. The purge has to be off. Just lay it to the side. We got to get the PCV valve hose off. Get this laid here. We got to get the PCV valve hose off. We got to get the brake booster hose off. Just push down on the connector, remove that. Okay, it's held on by 8mm screws. Okay, let's get this hose off of the intake. Just lay everything to the side, but mind you where everything go for reinstallation purposes. Okay, now this bracket right here, these 10mm have to come off. We gotta unhook everything that's attached, holding the plenum on. And the EGR tube, this big hose here has to come off. So just simply squeeze the clamp and remove the hose off of it. With some more brackets under here. I'm gonna show you as I go, guys. So get this hose off and grab my socket to get these 10mm bolts off. All right, let's get with it. Alright guys, now we got to get the other end of this air cleaner hose off because it is in the way of gaining access to this bracket. So just push down on the white connector and pull. Okay, you got to find a way to push that down in order to release it. Alright, we got to get the harness off Gotta get the harness off of the EGR valve and map sensor and just lay that to the side. This is what I was fighting with. Okay, once we got that off, now we can get to this 10mm bracket screw that's holding the intake on. Alright guys, got that out. Now let's start removing the plenum gasket or the plenum bolts to see if anything else holding on, because it's hard to tell with these new manifolds, guys. So let's get all 8 of these off. Now just pick up on it, see what you have. I always pick these bolts all the way up and go in a counterclockwise position so you can make sure they're not still threaded into the lower intake. Okay, so now just remember guys, we got to get this EGR hose out. I'm trying to make sure I have cleared the brackets, and from the sound of it I haven't. Alright, so let me look down in here for some more. Alright, so we got to get the brake pump, electric brake pump bracket off. Let's get this bolt right here. Okay, I already got the one off from down here. Alright guys, so once we got that last bolt off at the very bottom of this bracket right here, that was the only hurdle left. Alright, now of course you know to pry off the EGR tube, and it should be ready to, yeah, it should be ready to come up now. And there you go guys, got the intake plenum off. The bracket, left it on the throttle body, but yeah, it was fighting with that. Okay, so now it's pretty easy to go ahead and replace cylinder 2, 4, and 6 spark plugs. Okay, so of course if you take this off, please put it back on. It's there for a reason. Alright, I even got new intake gaskets I'm gonna replace. Alright, so I'm gonna get these spark plugs replaced. I already have the rear replaced, just have to put the coils in, and that should wrap it up guys, so stay tuned. In order to install this, just reverse the removal procedure. Okay, so it's no big deal. I'm gonna clean that throttle body out, replace all these spark plugs. I have 3 more plugs to replace. I've already done the ones in the rear. This is pretty self-explanatory. I had to use my swivel to get this bolt here out because I did not want to remove this bracket. So just simply remove the other 2 coils, and that will give you access to the spark plugs. Okay, here's the cam sensors. As you know, they're fairly easy once the plenum is off. Okay, and guys, y'all know how I do these coils. I tend to use dielectric grease. In fact, so you see how hard even the newer cars, see how hard these plugs are, this coil is to get off. I always go back on with, see, oh Lord, please don't break. It came off whole. Yes, you don't want that to break on you. You will have to charge the customer for another cord. Okay guys, just take some dielectric grease and just put a little bit right there on the end and a little bit right here on the rubber part. Okay, you don't want this coil to break off inside. That could really give you some problems. I always tend to put a little bit around the coil right here and a little bit right here. Alright, so that would make installation, see that? The next guy to do a tune-up on this will thank me for this. And I highly recommend you do this. This is what I use. Dielectric grease from Mopar. This doesn't have to be Mopar, but this is what I used on this. Okay guys, so let me finish this tune-up. Alright guys, I am done.